Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. Unfiltered commentary. Not your truth, the real truth. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for your support. Hi, folks. Welcome back to Crisco's Corner. From Fox News. Cuomo impeachment breakdown. Here's what could happen if the New York governor is impeached. State law might force him to step aside immediately. I live in New York, upstate New York, so this concerns me, I guess, indirectly. More than 160 federal and state lawmakers from both parties are calling for New York Governor Andrew Cuomo's resignation or impeachment, which would start with the New York State Assembly. The Assembly on Thursday initiated what could be the first step toward impeachment. What could be the first step? When it opened an investigation with full subpoena power and has more details emerge of sexual allegations of misconduct against the governor's handling of the COVID-19 nursing homes. The Democratic conference is taking the first step toward impeachment by opening an investigation with full subpoena power. Obtained facts and testimonies under oath, Democratic Assemblyman Ron Kim said in a statement. Some members, including myself, argue that we have had enough admission to proceed with impeachment today, but the conference is leading towards setting up the process and structure toward impeachment. Now, let me ask you something. I don't know Assembly member Ron Kim. I don't know Governor Cuomo either. Here's my question. How many of these so-called, let's see here, Democrats, 160 federal and state lawmakers from both parties, how about the state itself? How many have called? Let's look at this. You need 76 of the Assembly members of the 150 members to call for impeachment that would represent a majority. Here's my question. How many New York State, not federal, New York State Assembly members and New York State Senate members, not U.S. Senate, but state Senate members, called for the impeachment or the investigation of Andrew Cuomo before the so-called sexual allegations of sexual misconduct were brought up by one of his top aides? You notice, though, none of them came out until after one of his top aides said that when the Department of Justice, under then Trump administration, was investigating the deaths in the nursing homes, they lied about the numbers. And if memory serves me correctly, that top aide, I forget her name, her mother-in-law is one of the top federal attorneys in the Southern District of New York, which is New York City. I live upstate. Probably told her, listen, you goofballs lied to DOJ investigators. You better fess up. I'm just guessing, of course, but I think that conversation likely happened. But it's my point of the hypocrisy of it. How many called for an investigation and impeachment before the sexual misconduct claims were made? Maybe 2 or 3 Republicans. I'm just guessing, of course, because I can't think of any. How many Democrats? I'll bet you it's 0 in the Assembly and the New York State Senate that were Democrats called for his impeachment before, or investigation even, which would lead to impeachment, before the sexual allegations. So that means the Me Too sexual allegations are more important to them than up to 15,000 people dying in nursing homes in New York State. How effing twisted is that? Let's read on. Nearly 90% of New York's congressional delegation has called for the governor's resignation or impeachment and has more than 80% of state senators. If 76 of the Assembly members, 150 members call for impeachment, that would represent a majority. So far, only 40 are in favor of impeachment, while 80 want Andrew Cuomo to resign or step aside. Also, too, if you noticed, the admission to lying to the DOJ on the investigation of the COVID deaths in the nursing homes by then President Trump's DOJ, so to speak. You notice, though, all these things came out after the presidential election, when all the legal stuff was finished, and it took weeks and weeks up until the crazy January 6th day, and a bunch of people got stupid. You notice it all came out after the electoral count was official. And they didn't need Andy Cuomo anymore to be their, oh gosh, what am I looking for? Their barking dog, to be their hitman, to be there day after day after day with news conferences and people saying on CNN and his brother and all the networks, this is how a governor reacts to a crisis and a pandemic. He should have ran for president. What an shining example. Don't tell me they didn't know. Don't tell me they didn't know about the fact all those people were dying in the nursing homes. And don't tell me the fact these people didn't know of these sexual misconduct and or assault rumors going around. Don't believe a word of it. You know why I don't believe a word of it? Andrew Cuomo, Governor Cuomo, wasn't on the short list for a VP pick. Actually, that would have been a lot better choice than Kamala Harris. Not a sound, though. He used to be a cabinet member. He used to run HUD, I believe, under Bill Clinton. So he has experience being in the cabinet. Was he on the short list for any cabinet spot? I doubt it. I very much doubt it. This is great stuff. Some things need to be changed. Remember the idiots that had New Coke? Remember that one? The old school stuff is the best, I'm telling you. I'm trying to make a point here. The point is that they use him as an attack dog. They were ever going to put him as VP slot, even on the short list. There was no consideration at all for a cabinet post, which means they knew. They knew. Let's read on. Only 3 New York members of Congress, Representatives Hakeem Jeffries, Meeks, and Suozzi, have not come out in favor of impeachment or resignation. Who cares? They're congressmen. I don't give a damn what they think about a New York State governor. It's none of their business besides their New York State residents. Other than that, I don't care what their opinion is. New York Attorney General Lynetta James is investigating harassment allegations that Cuomo said he will fully cooperate with her probe. Harassment and sexual misconduct. That's all they care about. 15,000 dead people. Nobody gives a damn. The FBI and U.S. Attorney's Office in Brooklyn are also investigating his administration's admission that it underreported thousands of COVID-19 nursing home deaths over the summer. James does not have the power to remove Cuomo from office, but any findings corroborating the allegations could sway potential impeachment proceedings or add pressure for Cuomo to leave voluntarily. There's no deadline for completing the investigation. James hasn't said how long he'll expect it to take. A 2010 investigation that Cuomo oversaw as Attorney General into his predecessor, Governor David Paterson, lasted about 5 months. Remember, you heard it here first. My guess, beginning of June, middle of June. That first 2-week period in June is going to be right in there. That's my guess, and I'm going to stick by it. The Assembly's Judiciary Committee could rely on work done by the Attorney General's team of investigators or gather its own evidence. Oh, sure, they'll want to gather its own evidence to drag this thing out as long as you could. Oh, God. If a majority of Assembly members vote to impeach Cuomo, a trial on his removal from office will be held at what is known as the impeachment court, and then it goes into details there if you want to stop the video, how all that is set up. If the Assembly votes to impeach Cuomo, state law might force him to step aside immediately, a dramatic difference from what happens when the U.S. president is impeached. No officer shall exercise his office after articles of impeachment against him shall have been delivered to the Senate until he was acquitted. According to state constitution, the lieutenant governor would then take over. In the case the governor is impeached, is absent from the state, or is otherwise unable to discharge the powers and duties of the office of governor, the lieutenant governor shall act as governor until the inability shall cease or until the term of the governor shall expire, the Constitution states. And it says right here, if he was acquitted, he would return to office. And, I don't like the idea. I don't like Andy Cuomo at all, but I think it's absolutely ridiculous. If you're brought up on impeachment charges during the trial, you're removed from office temporarily. Whatever the presumption of innocence. But this is New York, by the way. And a little side note, how screwed up New York is now, it's always been this screwed up. My understanding is when they signed the letter for the Declaration of Independence and they had a vote. All 13 counties. It had to be unanimous, so they wouldn't do it. It was 12 in favor, 0 against, and 1 abstention. And guess who the abstention was? The state of New York, because the 3 delegates from New York at the Continental Congress said they couldn't get a straight answer out of Albany. All I do is talk and talk and talk, and nobody ever does anything. So there you have it, folks. The more things change, the more they stay the same. And until next time, folks, goodbye and good luck.